I was asking someone tonight about, whether they were following the whole abortion attack and shit, and whether they were pro-choice. And they said they were mostly pro-choice. And they said the reason they weren't completely pro-choice was because they knew of a girl who had gotten more than one abortion in her life, and they figured that she should have learned her lesson the first time. And it made me want to address this. I think that, one, it's easy to judge a girl, anyone, for what they do, especially when you don't know all of the facts. Two, I think a lot of that comes from growing up in a sex-negative society. I don't think people really understand what it means to be a sex positive and a sex positive advocate, a sex positive feminist. And not all sex positives are feminists. When you start looking at how society uses sexuality as a tool for control and manipulation and silencing, you begin to see more and more how important sex positivity is. And, the first thing that came to mind when I heard this girl say this was that, I can see where someone might judge a woman who got more than one abortion in her life as being irresponsible. But when we grow up in a society like we have here in America, that is really the only really sex education that's taught now is abstinence only education. They don't teach comprehensive sex education. And so they don't teach girls about their sexuality and how to even really define their sexual boundaries, how to say no concretely. They don't really teach you how to say no. They teach you how to avoid. And they certainly don't teach you how and when and where, realistically, to say yes. They don't want to teach you about contraception because they're afraid teaching children, or not children, but young people about contraception will promote teen sex, just like they think letting organizations give out contraception to sex workers is promoting prostitution. They don't want to promote teen sex. God forbid your kids be fucking. Can't have that. But also look at the bullying that goes on. Phoebe Prince was statutory raped by someone. This was a guy that some of her classmates had a crush on. I don't think he was much older than her. So, because she was statutory raped by him, they slut-shamed her so badly that she killed herself. One day she was walking home, and one of the girls came by and drove by in a car and threw an energy drink at her and told her something to the effect of, "Why don't you just go home and kill yourself?" And she did. She got a scarf that a relative had given her, and she hung herself with it. And this is the way sexually active girls are treated. And a lot of times, they're treated worse by other girls. I know what this is like. Not as a child. I wasn't really slut-shamed as a child because I wasn't sexually active very young. But if you know some of my history here on this site, you know that the onslaught of slut-shaming that I went through was crazy. All by anti-porn feminists that are supposed to care about women. And at first it was difficult for me, and I'm almost 40. Can you imagine what it's like for a 15-year-old girl? So the point is, we live in a society where a sexually active girl, even when she's raped, statutory raped, is abused by her peers, bullied, harassed, called a slut, called a whore. How can you honestly expect that girl to carry a condom and ask someone to use it? And those girls grow up to be women in this society. With still that same fear. I know many girls who have that fear. If I carry a condom on a first date, will he think I'm a slut? Will he think I'm a whore? It shouldn't be that way, but it is. So it's easy to judge a woman when she gets more than one abortion in this world. But to those that judge women that way, I ask you, what are you doing to combat the sex negativity of our society? If you can't really say you're doing anything, then you can't really judge. And if you are doing something, then I doubt that you would be the type of person to judge.